In this video, we will be going over Rappa's kit, how to play her, trace priority, builds, Eidolons, and team building. So let's start. Rappa's normal basic attack is useless, so let's skip that. The skill is a 5 target AoE ability that is primarily used to just reduce toughness and regenerate her ultimate. Rappa's ultimate transforms her basic attack to an enhanced basic attack for 3 attacks, and she gains an extra turn. This allows you to do things like out basic on Rappa's turn, giving you 2 attacks in a single turn. On top of an extra turn, Rappa gains 30% break effect and 50% break efficiency when she has her enhanced basic attacks. Each enhanced basic attack consists of 3 hits, kind of like a Chiron ultimate. The first 2 only hit 3 enemies, 10 toughness to the main and 5 toughness to the adjacent. The final hit hits all enemies, but only does 5 toughness reduction to all of them. On top of this damage, Rappa is able to gain additional damage from her talent that has a base of 60% break damage and 2 toughness reduction. However, with each charge you get, 1 from breaking an enemy and 2 from an elite or higher enemy, you can increase the break damage by 50% and 1 toughness reduction for each charge, capping out at 560% break damage and 12 toughness reduction for 10 charges. This toughness reduction can also deal super break damage, meaning the break damage you deal from your talent is in fact activating super break, which gives Rappa a lot more damage. Similar to Firefly, Rappa also gets 10% break damage vulnerability based on Rappa's attack over 2400. You need 3200 attack in total to get 10%, which is why Rappa builds attack. When using Rappa's enhanced basic attack from her ultimate, she converts damage to 60% super break. The last bonus ability is one that I've already mentioned. Rappa gains an additional charge and 10 energy when an elite or higher enemy is weakness broken. Rappa doesn't have to break herself to trigger this, it can be anyone in your team, so it makes it more convenient. Finally, her technique, again quite similar to Firefly, does toughness reduction, break damage, and also regenerates 10 energy. This 10 energy may seem quite useless, but what it does is allows Rappa to get her ultimate faster, so you don't have to waste an extra turn. Rappa has a maximum energy of 140, and so starts Memory of Chaos and so on at 70 energy. Since her skill only regenerates 30 energy, without this 10 energy, Rappa would be at 130 energy after 2 skills. Hence, this 10 energy just helps you to get Rappa's ultimate at the start of the battle ASAP. Like I mentioned in my previous video, Rappa's biggest issue is being unable to stack charges quickly on the same wave of enemies. This is more so a problem in Memory of Chaos because with Runway and Imaginary Break, the enemies will be delayed for quite a long time. However, even at 5 charges, Rappa already does pretty good damage. It also helps that we may soon be getting a unit with Exo Toughness, just like the one in the current Memory of Chaos, allowing you to break twice, and I would assume give you twice the number of charges, basically solving this issue for Rappa and allowing her to be better played in Memory of Chaos on top of already being very strong in Pure Fiction and Apocalyptic Shadow. And so it is quite simple to play Rappa. You want to get her ultimate, use the enhanced basic attacks, and then regenerate her ultimate with her skill, and then you repeat. A rotation would usually look something like this. Unless you have her signature Lightcone, then you would probably have a permanent 1-turn ultimate. Just in case, this is a lot harder to achieve in 1 to 2 target scenarios because Rappa gains energy from breaking elites in 3 target scenarios, and this is required for Rappa to maintain a 1-turn ultimate. For 1 to 2 target scenarios, you need to be a little bit lucky for Rappa to get hit by the enemy to regenerate more energy, but I think you probably wouldn't use an erudition unit for a single target boss in the first place, which is why it doesn't quite matter. Being a break carry, Rappa doesn't quite need higher attack multipliers on her basic attack or her skill. Most of her damage comes from her toughness reduction and break effect, hence you should be leveling her talent, her ultimate, and then her basic attack and skill. Rappa has incredibly low base speed, which is why for stat bonuses, I recommend you prioritize speed, break, and then attack percentage. All of her bonus abilities are important, so I would recommend you to get all of them. Now we can get into Rappa's build. For Lightcones, her signature Lightcone is obviously the best. It gives 60% break effect, 30 energy at the start of the battle, and 50% advance after using 2 enhanced basic attacks. The 30 energy is basically to shorten Rappa's ramp up to her ultimate by 1 turn and gives Rappa a permanent 1 turn ultimate. The 50% advance increases Rappa's damage per action value and helps Rappa to get her ultimate out faster. Hence, it is quite hard for most other Lightcones to compete with her signature Lightcone and is best in slot by a fair margin. A more free-to-play option is After the Charmony Falls, which will be on Rappa's Lightcone banner. It gives less break effect, but it gives you a speed boost after using your ultimate, which is exactly what Rappa wants. Hence, is a very solid choice and Rappa's second best Lightcone. A completely free-to-play option is Eternal Calculus, not because of the attack, but because of the speed boost you can get from hitting 3 enemies. For Rappa who wants to deal with at least 3 enemies, this speed boost is pretty much permanent, which increases Rappa's damage output. From here on, we have Make the World Clamor and Night on the Milky Way. Make the World Clamor is great in short fights because it gives you energy at the start of the battle, like her signature light cone for a 1-turn ultimate. This does look deceptively strong in my calculations, but in a longer fight should be worse than the other options. Night on the Milky Way isn't a great option because attack and damage percentage don't do a whole lot for Rappa, and so should serve as a last resort option if for some reason you don't have the other light cones. Relics are quite straightforward as well, basically any brick or super brick damage carry loves Iron Cavalry due to the defense ignore it provides, and Rappa even has inbuilt super break damage, meaning she can get up to 25% defense reduction. This is her best general use relic set because it gives a ton of damage. In Pure Fiction, I can see Thief of Shooting Meteor being a decent choice as well, and may help you get a 0-turn ultimate, increasing Rappa's damage uptime at the cost of some damage. For planar ornaments, there is only really one choice, and that would be Thalia Kingdom of Banditry because it gives more break effect. Company's Lantern could technically work, but you require fire weak enemies in order to get the boost, which makes it very situational and very restrictive. For relic stats, you want to run attack, speed, attack, and break. Again, you need 3200 attack in order to maximize her 10% break damage vulnerability, which is why we run double attack. If you are able to get higher than 3200 attack, even without double attack, perhaps with light cones like Night on the Milky Way, it is no problem at all to run Imaginary Damage Orb for a marginal damage increase. For substats, due to her low base speed, you should prioritize speed and break effect. Attack percentage can be useful to help you hit 3200, but afterwards it doesn't really serve any more purpose. Of course, defensive and crit subsets are also technically fine, but it is better invested into speed and break effect. Before we go on to her Eidolons and team building, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like more reliable guides and videos. Anyways, if you are considering pulling for more copies, now or on her future banners, we will be going over her Eidolons. Rappa's Eidolons are actually quite unique, and instead of vertically improving Rappa in her best scenario, which is 4 to 5 targets, it actually improves Rappa's viability in 3 target scenarios or lower, which is usually going to be Memory of Chaos. Her E1 ignores 50% defense in her ultimate state and regenerates 20 energy after exiting this state. This benefits both Pure Fiction and Memory of Chaos, but the 20 energy basically makes the requirements a lot less strict for Rappa to be able to be used in Memory of Chaos. You might even find that you are overcapping on energy at times as well. A E2 is actually quite bizarre and increases the toughness reduction of Rappa's first 2 hits to the main target by 50%. This really just helps you break elites or higher enemies' weaknesses faster and doesn't really contribute much to her damage in AoE scenarios because it is only a 50% increase for one target. And hence, it is much better in Memory of Chaos and isn't really a good Eidolon in general. E4 is a very useful Eidolon for Rappa because she increases the entire team's speed by 12% during her ultimate. For Rappa, this is only a small increase in damage, but when you consider the entire team, depending on which teammates you have, this can be a very strong Eidolon. E6, kind of like E2, is very heavily geared towards Memory of Chaos. Rappa gains 5 charges at the start of the battle, and after performing the final hit of her enhanced basic attack, Rappa also gains 5 charges. What this really does is makes it easier for Rappa to gain charges without even breaking enemies' weaknesses, As a large part of her damage comes from her charges, this is a very strong Eidolon in Memory of Chaos, but in pure fiction or 5 target scenarios where Rappa and the team is already very capable of breaking many weaknesses, it is quite a small increase in damage. This is why in pure fiction or 5 target scenarios where Rappa is able to gain high charges, her Eidolons only give her a 20% increase in damage in total, which is horrible. However, for 3 target scenarios like in Memory of Chaos, Rappa gains 80+% increase in damage. That looks more about right. Which is why I recommend getting Rappa's signature Lightcone over her Eidolons in general, as it gives better value when considering the different scenarios Rappa can be used in. Team building is pretty simple for Rappa. Her teams are pretty much identical to Firefly, where you would run Runmei, Fugue or Harmony MC, and probably a sustain like Gallagher or Lingsha. In some stages, you might not need the extra sustain like in Pure Fiction or against Fantalia, and so you may run units like Himiko or Jade over the sustain for more AoE wave clear. If Fugue is what she is rumored to be, she will most likely be Rappa's best teammate alongside Run Mei. So it kinda just leaves the last slot open where you would probably run Lingsha because she has very strong AoE. That's pretty much it for this video, so as always, thanks for watching.